Craig Brain is not your brain or my brain. Love it or hate it or something in between. Welcome to the squishy, alien middle inside of this dude's skull. Take a peek. Take a peek.
Hey, it's Craig Gross, and welcome to Craig Brain. This is something new, something I haven't tried before. I've done podcasts, but never in like a nice podcast studio. Half the time it's in my car, or it's a recorded conversation with me on the phone. I'm trying to do 50 other things at the same time, record this thing. So maybe the quality's not been up to par. But this attempt was to do something new. Craig Brain started... Well, I'll tell you how I started the domain. My friend Drew called me one day, and he just said, "Hey, I need some Craig Brain." And I just laughed. I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I'm thinking about something in my business, and then just had some questions, and I just needed to pick your brain." And so as we were talking about some business decision that I think went on to, well, what he said just kind of revolutionized his business, but I didn't know that at the time. I just was like, I like that.com. So I bought Craig Brain, sat on it for, almost a year, and just decided to launch this. So if you're watching, if you're listening, welcome. Welcome to the introduction. And let me just kind of tell you what to expect. And a little bit more about me. I don't want to assume that those of you that know me, oh, that's the porn guy, or that's, this guy that used to do this. A little bit about me. If you follow the Enneagram, or if that interests you, I'm a 3, which means I'm an achiever with a 2 wing, which means I'm a helper. Trying to slow down on the achieving and enjoy life a little bit more. I am an introvert. INTJ, if you like, or that means anything to you. And recently, I've discovered this incredible stuff for a marriage called How We Love. And if you haven't taken that quiz, I love all these like self-assessment quizzes, or the Kolbe. If you're interested in the Kolbe, I'm a 9 on the quick start, so I like starting things fast. But this How We Love, it's phenomenal. So if you're married, or even if you're thinking about getting married, just find out your wounded state. Unlike your Enneagram number that you want to prance around in, nobody wants to put this on a T-shirt and says, I'm a vacillator. And so they kind of go through just what that means. And it's fascinating stuff about just kind of how you see life from some of kind of your childhood wounds. And so that means if we're ever in an argument, I would like to finish that argument pretty much as soon as it starts, and not avoid that. I'm not afraid of confrontation, but at times I'll say things that maybe a little too quick to speak, slow to listen, and my mouth could get me in trouble at times. So that's what a vacillator. One of the things I'm working on. But I've been most known for the last 17 years for the work that I've done with Triple X Church. I never set out to be a porn pastor. I didn't even know what that meant. But my best friend and I were discipled by our youth pastor in high school, starting in 11th grade. We met at McDonald's. And so I didn't enjoy McDonald's. I didn't even enjoy my youth pastor. At the time, he had stolen my Van Halen tape in junior high, and gave it to my dad and said, "Read the lyrics, and make sure you go over it with your boy." I had no clue what was wrong with OU812, but Tom Ramsey apparently did. So I started meeting with Tom with my best friend Jake, and he discipled us through the end of high school. And when it came time to graduate, I had a baseball card business, and Pogs had come out. So Pogs just destroyed everything, any chance that I had to make money. And so my 10th, 11th, 12th grade year in high school, I was making a lot of money selling baseball cards, not to kids at school, at my Christian school. Like, we just took those from them, and then sold those on the weekends. But this was it was really a job that I got after working at Burger King at the age of 13. My dad ran Burger King's, and so he got me a job. I was like, awesome, I can make $4.25. And I couldn't even work the register because I was so short. And so I worked the fryer and onion rings, and sometimes made burger buddies, if that interests you, how old you are. Those are this delicious burgers that were stuck together at Burger King. But I quit that job at 14 and got a seller's permit, work permit, and decided to get booths at baseball card shows. And then we would find during the week, run to Costco, answer ads in newspapers and buy up cards and then sell them. And the best part about the job is it was a real job, made good money, but I didn't have to go to church. And because I had a job on the weekends. And so did that. But then, the Pogs kind of crashed the whole market. And my dad at the time had moved on from Burger King to operating vending machines. He had a vending machine company. I got in not in the business, but I got into that side of the business, helping him fix his machines. And so I was selling baseball cards. My dad was selling candy. And it was like, what do I want to do after high school? And my grandma's probably was the closest to me in my family at the time. I have a pretty successful uncle, and my grandma's like, go make lots of money like your uncle, like go into business. And the Lord was telling me something different. And I started the process to ask Tom Ramsey, what do I need to do to like get your job one day? Because if I could just help kids and do your job. And so he told me I'd have to go to college. And so I found a Christian college in Southern California. It had way less rules than my Christian school growing up. I didn't have a curfew. I could wear earrings. I could have my hair as long as I wanted to. I could probably even kiss a girl, unlike stand 9 inches from her at prom. So I went and I became a youth pastor, and so did my best friend Jake. And early on in our youth ministry careers, I realized really quickly I'd be fired from this church at any point, probably within a year, because I just loved breaking all the rules. I didn't understand the church. I didn't understand why we put so many barriers up, like so many fences around our building. And then when we broke those down and got kids on campus, it was just like, well, they skated on the table or they cussed or they did this. And it was like, man, whatever. And so my friend and I, we had an opportunity at the time. We started speaking, and we created something out of nowhere, just out of our friendship. And we decided, well, why don't we just start speaking at the same time while we were doing youth ministry? And long story short, we decided at 22 years old, let's quit our jobs, let's start our own ministry, and let's do whatever we want in order to reach people. And so we did it. Our wives jumped on board with us, and that was kind of my journey out of a real job into kind of this ministry that I created with Jake. We did youth conferences all around the world. We did a ton of things, and then out of nowhere, we start dealing with porn. And I think a lot of that was right time, right place. This was 2002 when we launched the site. This was before, your social media, your iPhones, your Google. This was just porn on the internet. And we saw an opportunity to reach people on a safe place online. So since 2002, most of my work has been now with XXX Church, from speaking around the country to writing books to publishing blogs and podcasts. I mean, our website's the largest website on the planet on this topic. There's not a better resource. There's not a better ministry. I say that because I'm proud of the work that we've done there. But if you Google me and you find anything, it's going to be a debate with Ron Jeremy. It's going to be something about going to a porn show or something crazy that we did to make a scene, like putting a 25-foot penis called Wally the Wiener outside the Sundance Film Festival offices. So yeah, we're willing to do those kind of things. I'm 43 now. I've got 2 teenage kids. I was just telling our team last month, remember the 20s, we haven't done something controversial. And I don't do that just because I did it when I was 20s. I do it because, man, we're trying to make some noise, in a loud world on a topic that not a lot of people want to talk about. So we had to break a bunch of rules. But as of lately, we've just been helping people in their marriages. We've been helping men. We've been helping women. And so when I hit 40, for me, I just decided to do some work on the side. And I've learned a lot with XXX Church. I think I've overlearned to try and help people. And I started working with some people that were Christians, and they had an influence in social media. And I was like, I bet with your audience and what we know how to do, we could do something cool. And so I started that with a friend of mine named Jefferson Bethke, and things just kind of took off for us, from opportunities to sell books, to sell video courses, to create a influencer inner circle, to just have a lot of impact in some neat ways. And that was just kind of off an idea. I just said, hey, you know what? Let me just try something else. And so because of that, because of some of these other rooms that I've been in lately, I found that I don't oftentimes talk about those things. I'm kind of behind the scenes. And a friend asked me to speak at an event recently, and it was a talk that I'd never done before. It wasn't on porn. I joke that I speak on Sundays a lot about the same topic, but this was just a business meeting, and wanted to talk about something we did online. And I just found it fascinating. It was all in my head. I've never written this stuff down. And so what Craig Brain is, in a sense, is there's a lot of things that have been in my head, from business to life to family to friends to marriage. Jeanette and I just celebrated 20 years of working together and 20 years of being married. And so the fact that we've been able to do stuff like that isn't easy. I've lost a lot of friends to the very nature of the things that we try and help people with. And so, I guess I was just tired of Googling my name, and the only thing you read about me is stuff I have to say about porn. And it's probably like the last thing I talk about these days in my personal life, just because I've been talking about it for 18 years. And sometimes you just got to get away from it. It's devastating. It's dark. And we have a lot of wins, but for every win that we see, there's thousands of losses. And so Craig Brain, when Drew said, hey, like, I need some of this, I started going through my journal entries, and I've never been a journaler. I started 2 years ago. And there's just a lot of things I've written. There's a lot of things I've shared. Like I said, some of these things I found clarity with. Some of these things I've started to build even confidence with. And so I was just like, what the heck? And so I asked the team that puts out all our stuff for the ministry. I just said, hey, could we do another podcast? Could we do another? I think I have a book in me that I want to write about some of this stuff. Could we do this across our channel? Not because I need to be on my face on a podcast, but the thought was, in a world where we're trying to help people, on a very tough topic, that there's a small entryway. Our thought was just, hey, could we go wider? And Craig, hey, you're excited to talk about some of these other things. And if someone wants to find out about, the marriage help that we have in our ministry, or the stuff with Triple X Church, or the stuff that we're just doing in other places, it's just like, hey, yeah, sure, you can do it. So I've got no rules. I've got no topics that are left kind of untouched. Like I said, it's a combination. We've kind of narrowed it down into 5 different categories, but each week on the podcast, I plan on just telling a story or sharing a topic that is based off of the article or the blog or the email, however you're going to subscribe, that you would get each week. And so rather than starting each of these with my thoughts, I've been working through my journal entries with my friend Levi McAllister. And so we've edited a lot of them really long form essays or entries. And so that would be kind of what we roll out each week. And then on the podcast or the audio, or however you're watching this on video or audio, we thought we'd just I'd just share maybe some snippets from that piece. And so that's what it is. I think I've got probably 40 of them this year. So each week we'll have something new every week. Like I said, subscribe to the emails, subscribe to the channel. And so if you're watching the podcast or you're listening to it, it's going to be basically highlights or cliff notes of the long form piece with some added stories. So that's it. That's Craig Brain. I'm excited. This, like I said, is the introduction. Next time, I am going to introduce you to my friend Levi McAllister. One of my not only just one of my best friends, one of just the sweetest, most kind of genuine guy I know. The best writer I know. Lex has so much. I tend to sometimes lack empathy. Levi, man, is probably the most empathetic writer that I've seen, and just he's also seen a lot of this stuff for me in the unedited Craig Brain form, which is like horrible. And so he's helped me kind of bring some of this stuff onto the pages. And I think, anytime I get the chance to work with Levi, we do some really great things. And so next week, he was like, I'm going to record the audio of the foreword. So I think we're going to shoot that video of Levi introducing the foreword, because he's a poet, and so he likes to, say those things out loud. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Episode 1. That's it.
Thanks for thinking through Craig Brain. This podcast is only a small summarized part of a larger conversation. To read the full story, check out www.craigbrain.com and follow @Craig Gross on whatever social suits your fancy.